All right. Hi everyone. All right, so this is Soft Body. I'm happy to be running this for you today. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started and explain the mechanics after. So, time starts when I enter the first level in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, took a bit to load. So this is Soft Body. Basic concept of this game is you have these two characters, a main body and a ghost body, and they can do different things. You have to accomplish a bunch of goals within each of the levels to move on to the next. So pretty much shows off most of the mechanics in this second level right here. With my main body, which is the yellow body, I have to light up blocks and kill certain enemies. And with my ghost body, I push these orbs along paths and also take out most of the enemies. My main body, if it gets hit by these bullets right here, it'll die, and I'll have to restart the level. The ghost body, it can get hit as much as I want it to, and if it gets hit, it'll just return to my main body, and it'll be stuck there for a bit. So those are the basic concepts. After that, you just go through each level trying to beat it as fast as possible. Another couple important things. You saw in the last level there were turrets, and here we have these snipers that will actually target me. They'll target whichever body is closest to them. So I can just kind of sit in the corner with my main body, for example, and be somewhat safer in this level. Your ghost body can move through walls and most objects, but your main body cannot. Oops. So I'm just gonna push along this orb while trying to stay in relative safety. Light up the rest of these. As soon as you complete every goal in a level, you're usually able to advance. If I can, there we go. That level's kind of neat because you can just wiggle in between the center if you do it fast enough. All right. This is the first example of these spiral enemies. They're a lot like the normal orbs that you push along paths, but they constantly spew out bullets whenever you're close to them. So you just have to be a little more cautious there. And usually I'll tackle them when I am not separated, when I'm stuck together. But this is an example where I cannot do that. So I have to separate. I'm kind of moving in a similar pattern with each body because it's much easier. You don't have to do two different things with your hands. Fortunately, most bullets don't go through walls, so if you are stuck in an enclosed area with your main body, you are pretty much safe from bullets. The exception is some homing bullets that we'll see later from certain enemies. Alright. Often levels are split into phases like that, so you'll complete one phase and then more stuff will appear that you have to take care of. There we go. One other important thing. Sometimes you'll see me appear to move much more slowly. There's actually a precise movement button that I can hold down and have much slower movement, so I can do some pretty technical things that I wouldn't otherwise be able to do. Oop, I have to go around this. Obviously, you can see with these waves of bullets, once they spread out enough, you can move through them, but it's a little bit risky. I got a slight bug at the beginning of that level where you can break out of your opening enclosure. It's pretty much always detrimental though. Just have to maneuver through these fields of bullets. You can see these enemies, these like black circles, they spawn a set of 6 or 8 bullets whenever they touch a wall. So in the beginning, those guys are bouncing around really quickly and spawning a ton of bullets, so I just have to be cautious of those. They disappear after a certain amount of time, fortunately, so the screen does not get too crowded. Just pushing along this orb. There we go. There are certain levels like this one where you won't have your ghost body at all. It's just not necessary. Ah, I knew. And another important point is that all these rotating turrets start rotating at a random place, and it can be very good or very bad. I got luckier that second time, but it was still a little bit rough. There we go. These, I think, are the first example of this enemy that have shells that you need to take off with your main body, and then their center you need to defeat with your ghost. And you don't want to leave their center for too long after you remove the shell, because otherwise it'll start spawning a ton of bullets, and it'll be really, really difficult to take care of. Alright, so this is the final level of Chapter 1. This is the first boss level, and in my opinion, the only true boss in the game. Most of the final levels just put you in a really wide open area and have a ton of stuff for you to take care of. Okay. And you can see this is the first example of these little square enemies that move around randomly and will occasionally shoot out a homing bullet at you. So I have to worry about those, I have to worry about the snipers, and everything that comes with that. Okay. The spirals I try and take care of as soon as possible because they spawn more of those homing enemies. Alright, we're on to the second phase. This is the actual boss, the two snakes. You have to hit their weak point 3 times each. It's just a red point that appears at a random location. I'm gonna play this a bit safe. If you don't hit their weak point in time after you spawn it, they will shoot out a whole slew of bullets at you. There we go. Alright, so we're on to the first, little bit of downtime. Good time to talk about the game. Some more mechanics of it. Oh. There's short in-between chapter cutscenes where you just have to do certain things, and it ends up not really mattering. So this game was made in 2016, originally for PS4. It's a cool little indie game by Zeki Verant. He wanted to make a meditative bullet dodging game. And he then had the idea to have split controls, having you do 2 things at different times with each of your hands. And I don't know if I mentioned, but you control the main body with your left and the ghost with your right. So he started out making this, which is soft game. And this is like the introductory content. And then he kind of changed courses and made what's called hard game, which really digs into the true difficulty of the game, because you can't merge your bodies like you can in soft game. So you have to take care of everything separately. And in addition, both of your bodies can die. Just a little bit longer in this first bit of downtime. I collect all these bits here. There's, I think, 15 that spawn. 15 or 25. It actually doesn't make a difference how fast you collect these, because the screen always fades out at the same time. But we get them all, because I like to see the shadow effects. Should be going out shortly. There we go. So after this, we'll be on to Chapter 2 proper. Alright. So this starts out with more of the same. We have actually a new type of enemy here, these diamond enemies. They're like the ones we saw earlier, but they move much more slowly, and they do not shoot bullets that home at you. They just shoot where you are currently positioned. And we take them out the same way with our ghost, so I'm going to be a bit safe about it. There we go. And we have more that spawn. Again, they can be taken out really, really quickly because they just stay in the center and they move super slow. A couple more. And once again, you can see, since I was enclosed there, I didn't have to worry about the snipers anymore. I just had to worry about those diamond enemies. Here we have yet another new type of obstacle. These circles that turn into triangles when you move close to them and start moving really, really fast. They're usually not that big of an issue, but there's no way to take them out, so you just kind of have to deal with them. and hope that they don't get in your way. There we go. Another similar level here. We're going to see 2, and then a 3rd will spawn in shortly after I take out these corners. There we go. I can leave those 2 kind of up there, so I don't have to worry about them for a while. There we go. And if I use my ghost over here, these will also track whichever body they're closest to. So you can use that to your advantage. I did not do a great job of it here. There we go. Managed to take that guy out before he started spawning more bullets. There's a little trick to this level. You can see there's like a circle outline on the edge of the screen. As long as you don't enter that with your main body, it won't spawn bullets. Otherwise, we'll see more of those later, and they spawn bullets in a concentric circle pattern. All right. Level's really straightforward. You're just pushing this orb along and dodging a ton of bullets. Oh, okay. There we go. This short, cool little cutscene that plays. Another trick in this level, and yet another new enemy as well. This long snake that leaves a super long trail behind it and just follows you around. What you can see I've done is left my main body in the middle. So this snake will constantly go in a circle and try and get my main body. And my ghost is down here wiggling around, just being able to take care of the orb without any obstruction. And there we go. One thing you have to keep in mind when you're separated like this, I don't know if I said, is if your ghost does not move after about 1.5 seconds, it will just teleport back to your main body. So I have to keep my right thumb constantly fiddling around on the joystick to keep it separate. It's hard to sneak through these waves of bullets like that, but to beat the level much faster, you want to not wait. Sometimes I'll miss a corner like that. There we go. Yeah, just a bad angle there. One more. You start out with the 1 circle in the center, and then, I don't know if you've been able to tell, but 2 more appear on either side, which is why I try and roughly go like in a circle without backtracking, which I'm gonna have to do a little bit of here. There we go. Gonna move to the other side. Take it slow. Alright, get over. Dang. It's rough. Even with the precise movement, you can sometimes just get tripped up and not be able to predict where you're going to be at, where a bullet's going to be at. There we go. And again, fortunately, they too do disappear after a set amount of time. So you're not having to worry about them forever. Just gonna wait. Alright, that should be good. Because by the time this one spawns, we'll be done. Alright. Here's another level where you have to use your ghost to break out of this square that you're trapped in the center. And again, I'm just gonna move in a circle to keep my ghost over here. And it kind of becomes second nature to move your main body to avoid the center spawner as you need to. Alright, the final orb will be inside the box. So I can move down here. Alright. This is one of the rougher levels because it has a bunch of these spawner enemies that I'm gonna be very, very cautious of. Ooh, okay. Kind of took a chance there. But yeah, there will be, anytime you have those enemies in a level, it's just an absolute pain. We'll see more of them later, unfortunately. I kind of want to deal with them as soon as possible to not have to worry about the homing bullets. There we go. Alright, this level looks very cool if I do it right. So you can see I've already done it once. I kind of line myself up with the center of these lines so that I can sit where I would normally have to move. I'll do it again with the ghost, and then I can start pushing the orb right when it gets to its initial location. I'm just going to continue sitting there with my main body and pushing with my ghost. I do have to move once to move the camera down, and I can realign here. There we go. Catch the orb, move up here, push it the rest of the way, and that should be good. And then it takes a while for the line to complete itself. There we go. Alright, this is the last level of Chapter 2. There's a slight skip you can do there. Okay, I will try this once before reloading the level. You'll notice right now, these bullets that are on screen are going to stay there for a very, very long time. That's just, for some reason, that happens when you've played through most of the chapter at once. Okay, I might be mistaken, because they seem to disappear earlier than normal. Normally, yeah, they stick on screen forever, and it's kind of a pain. Okay. Now we just have the spiral to take care of. And one more of these shell enemies. I can't quite get to the bottom. There we go. So, time kind of slows down, and once again we get a nice zoom shot with the camera. Everything kind of fades out. I would really love to know what was going through the developer's mind when he made these cutscenes. They're just absolutely fascinating. Can make really cool visual effects with the blur here. All right. Keep going. A cutscene similar to the one we had earlier. All right. More shadow effects. Yeah, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to do, and we do need to complete the cutscene for the game to save our progress so we can move on to Chapter 3. Alright, that one fades out a lot more quickly, though. Alright. I guess you could say it's time for things to get a little crazy. Alright. Chapter 3 kind of ramps up the difficulty even for soft game. It starts out with this weird menu. You actually have control of something in the menu, and you need to navigate to the first level. If I can enter. It's been a while since I've played from a fresh save, honestly. Okay. There we go. Just needed to pause. So we're back to pretty much standard gameplay. Starting out with a fairly straightforward level. You start out with 2 of those snipers, and a turret spawns in, and then 4 more spawn in. You just need to take care of various stuff without getting hit by snipers. Alright. Go along the edge of the screen here, and I should beat the turret. Yeah, there we go. Here's actually a new mechanic. These just squares that you kind of have to push along with your main body. It's kind of the opposite of an orb along a path. So we'll have this one to deal with, and then when we complete this one, another one will spawn in. Kind of have to wait for these lines, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. Using a lot of that precise movement. There we go. This level, you can see there's lines that are rotating one direction, and there's this massive line that spans the entire width of the screen that's rotating in the opposite direction. So we're kind of at the will of this bigger line here. And ideally, all right, we got a good start. We got a good first push on that orb, so we can complete it in 2 rotations of this big line. So we have those 2 shell enemies to deal with, and then we have the line. And we should be good. There we go. There's another level where your ghost is just outside this square, kind of taunting you, while you have to deal with these square enemies. And they can be the biggest pain in this level. They can just sit on the wall if they want, like that one is, and just not let you paint. There we go. As I said earlier, their movement is very, very erratic. They tend to move closer to you, to your main body, but they can just sit there and do nothing and just spawn bullets forever. Another new mechanic here, we have these zones that flash after you enter them after a certain amount of time. And if you're in the zone, when it flashes, you die. There we go. We'll see that in this and the next level. So I have a bunch to deal with here. First, the painting, and I have to go through each of the zones to get these. Noticed I entered that one, fortunately. And then I have that orb to deal with. But once I paint the walls, then we're well on our way. Because your ghost, again, can die as many times as you need it to. So I don't have to worry about it being in these zones. Okay. Alright. Finally got the orb up there. And we're closing in on the last few levels of the game. Another one here where you don't start out with your ghost. It's actually off screen right now at the bottom of the screen. Oop. And I have to dig my way into these corners to paint everything without getting stuck and then getting hit by a homing bullet. We're almost there. They're all kind of located up in that corner, so I'm just gonna try and bait them over to this side of the screen. It kind of worked. Alright, there we go. Now I can go get my ghost. Level always makes me nervous. Alright. Push this orb while we're down here. And I can take the rest of these guys. The camera always follows your main body, which can be a bit of a pain. But we dealt with it. Now here, you'll really see these spiral enemies and how they spawn those square enemies fairly constantly if you leave them alone. Ooh. Cut it close with that sniper. I'm gonna take care of some of these. There we go. Just a couple more. I should be able to finish this one before it spawns. There we go. just wiggle out of the way of the sniper, you know, just kind of play chicken with it. All right, once you finish the last spiral, you're pretty much home free. So this is the penultimate level, second to last level here. Again, just kind of wide open level with a bunch of stuff in it to take care of. The idea for this level is as soon as you beat one enemy, 2 more appear. But I know the order in which things spawn, so if I take care of things in a really specific order, then we don't have to worry about most of the obstacles until there's nothing else on screen that can hurt us. Alright. Oh, ran right into that sniper bullet. It can be hard to see the paths when you're being aimed at. Just gonna take that super safe. There we go. Whew. Almost didn't see that in time either. All right. It's good. Now I take this left side orb down to take those 2 enemies out, and we just finish up with these. There we go. So now we're on to the last level. There's one right here in the center. And everything goes monochrome. So my strategy here is to hide in the corner with my main body and then take out everything with my ghost, which, as you'll see, things start spawning in the background. You can actually tell roughly in advance when they'll spawn in based on how fast these clocks start spinning. Once they start spinning faster and faster, you know there's an enemy that's going to appear there. Also, I need to watch out because some can appear off screen, and they can actually keep moving off screen and just kind of sneak up on your main body, which can be pretty dangerous. All right, I need to deal with this big enemy. Go over to the other side. It's not good to have a situation like this where you have a bunch of bullets actually being fired, but that's what happens when you get unlucky, basically. Alright, so I've left one big enemy for last, which isn't too bad, and time will be as soon as I beat this enemy. So, time. So yeah, that's Soft Body. Cool little meditative indie game. And you can screw around on the credits. Alright.